Hello and welcome to Simon Says Artwork. In this video it's going to be the 20th installment of the Inktober challenge. Now in this one I think this is going to be quite an interesting one because I'm going to practice big swirls like flourishes. I don't know exactly what it's going to end up like, but I've already decided that I've done little curls of trying to do a kind of contoured hatching, and I've done vertical hatching, I've done horizontal hatching, and I've tried to draw faces, and this is all trying to develop my skills and abilities to draw with both hands at the end of the month. Yesterday I did this strange concentric circle of little bits of space debris looking things, or maybe robot traffic, I don't know, but it was kind of one of those things that was to me quite nice to look at, like little bits of machinery. So today it's going to be big arcing swirly things, and that's the plan. I'm going to be still working in my little black sketchbook, which is great to me, perfect size for this type of drawing. So okay, let's get started. Now, when it came to doing this drawing, I started to try to do as big sweeping motions as possible, and I was quite surprised and impressed with how much I could actually start doing that with my left hand. I really thought that it would be a lot more difficult than this, but then I did come across certain difficulties where I was becoming overconfident. It happens with my right hand as well, but I think that because the first couple of swoops were fairly kind of fluid, the jerky motions that occurred, which are bound to happen because it is my left hand, took me by surprise, and it caused me to have a little bit more difficulty and have to try to hide those mistakes where I otherwise thought that I'd just get away with it. But still, to be honest, it was much more, I don't know, enjoyable, I suppose. The early stages of this drawing, the most difficult part was doing the last finishing touches. So this part was all quite enjoyable, and it was also just part of a process of trying to cover the whole double page spread, where I was satisfied that there was enough different swirls and folds, and I thought, should I make this ribbon, or should I make it into smoke, or should I keep it abstract? And you know me, I ended up keeping it abstract. And I thought that was quite nice coverage. I know it's slightly heavier on the right, but I thought that doesn't really matter. This is again a point where I went a little bit wrong, but the effect holds up. I used the brush pen because it's so much quicker to add these big darker marks. And it was definitely fun, but I just wasn't quite as loose with my hand as I thought I might be. So I made a couple of mistakes early on, and it's something which I think I would have just taken a little bit more time on if I were to do this again. But saying that, I'm quite glad with how it turned out. I think that it's still quite a bold image and something which kind of gets the idea across of having a 3D aspect to 2D art, which is something which I quite like. It's quite graphic, and it's got parts which I like and parts which could use a bit of tweaking. But that's what happens when you do ink first drawings. And I'm just glad that I've started to try and push outside of the easier straight up hatching pages that I did earlier on, just to try to enjoy the drawing, whereas now I'm trying to push the growth aspect of it. So I started doing bits of hatching on these parts, and this is not to make it easier or just to indulge in hatching. It was because I felt like they were a little bit too flat, and I was deciding whether to do something with the background or whether to keep it as just these different shapes. And as I was going along, I tried to refine certain edges of these brush mark shadows, which I'd done. And I didn't do a immaculate job of it, but I did try to pick up certain parts which went a little bit too rough. I'm quite glad with how the hatching went. It wasn't too difficult, even though I did have to go fairly slow. It was something which I thought was nicer than I expected it to be. It's strange. Sometimes I just think because it's my left hand, I really do expect it to be a real struggle and to not, just not to work out. So once I'd got to this point, I thought, right, if I get a yogurt pot, which I've got several of for painting, I thought if I get one of those and draw around it, then I have the option of either drawing outside of the circle or inside of the circle and maybe making that some kind of space. And it's much easier to cover the inside of the circle, so I decide to go that way. And drawing around the yogurt pot with my left hand wasn't the easiest thing, and I am trying to stick to the left hand being used as I would use my right hand commitment that I started at the beginning of the month. And I've not got long left. What is it, 11 days, or technically 10 days, because the last day will be drawing with both hands. I think I've worked out my 200th video wrong, because I keep talking in the last couple of videos. I'd say keep talking in the last couple of videos. I've mentioned that I'm going to have video number 200 as the end of the Inktober, whereas in truth I think it's going to be 201. It's not a big deal. It's just that because 200 is a nice round number, I thought it was going to line up perfectly. And it turns out that with this being installment number 20 of Inktober, and I currently have, well, this will be the 190th video. I have 11 videos left to upload, which will be 21 to 31, which sounds like 9. It sounds like 10, but it's 11. And that unfortunately means that it will be 201 201 videos that I've uploaded onto my channel. It's not a big deal. It's something where I wanted to make a big event out of, having the 200th video being the last Inktober video, but it's not a problem at all. It's just I'll make a big deal out of my 200th video, which will be the last video I do with just my left hand, and my video number 201 will be with both hands. So that's still going to be, I don't know, it's going to line up to that extent where the left-handed Inktober will be gone, and then the ambidextrous push forward will begin from video number 201. I don't know how often I'll do that. That is something which I've mentioned a couple of times, trying to be ambidextrous, and I am going to try it several times because I don't think it will work out on the first attempt. But there we are. I think it's going to take a lot of practice to draw with both hands at the same time. I think changing from one hand to the other might be okay, but drawing with both hands I think will be quite tricky. I equate it to learning how to play the guitar or any kind of string instrument. When you're strumming with one hand and doing the chords with the other hand, it takes a lot of practice to try and get your mind to be able to not kind of stall when it comes to working out changing chords or how you strum, the rhythm of your strum. And it took a while to get over that hurdle, but as soon as I did, that was it. So anyway, that is the drawing done. I then go back over the circle with a 1.0 pen nib, because I feel as though the other nib going around was just too light and it didn't stand out enough. I then touch up certain little bits with this same nib, and that's it done. Okay, that is the drawing done. Now, it wasn't exactly as I thought it might be. I think I imagined doing things which were almost more, although I said flourishes, I think I was picturing those being tighter and interwoven with more lines somehow. I don't really know, because I do have aphantasia, which means that I can't visually picture things in my mind, and I can't project those onto the page. But the way that it turned out, I think, was still quite interesting, and it's got kind of a boldness to it, and it almost reminds me of kind of like a tattoo or a logo or something like that. It almost looks a bit like a corporate design of some sort, but I don't dislike it. It's quite different from the others. So yeah, I thought that was okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, share this with any friends or family who might enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.